Hey guys, it's Kade with Endure Hunt. In this week's video, we're talking about organization and how I pack my bag. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We do monthly giveaways. So make sure you're getting on those. All you gotta do is just click the subscribe button and you're in on the giveaways. Adding a comment down at the bottom gives you another entry. Anyway, you keep building them up. They never go away. So just hit that subscribe button and you're in for all our giveaways. This month we're doing the gun oil wipes. It's what we use to kind of make sure our guns are oiled up and good to go. It's kind of annoying bringing a whole squirt bottle of oil. So these little wipes are lightweight, really easy to use. Anyway, this week we're talking about organization. Why it's important, how I organize my bag, how I keep things organized inside the bag. I think it's a really important thing. Like most backcountry hunters, I've learned a lot of this stuff the hard way, so hopefully you watching this video, you can learn from my mistakes. I think it's super important to be organized. If you're not organized, then when you're on the mountain, you hear the term yard sale frequently, and no matter what you do, you can't really avoid the yard sale sometimes. But the way I organize things, my goal is to hopefully minimize the amount of time it takes to pack your bag and unpack your bag, and also making sure your weight is distributed evenly, and heavy stuff is kind of up or middle, you have the lighter stuff at the bottom, and then more lighter stuff kind of towards the top. Anyway, so this is how I organize things. I just want to go over that so that you guys can see one way to do it. If you guys have suggestions on how you guys pack your bag, if you see something that I could do better, please tell us in the comments, because this is constantly changing. We have a big trip. It's like 13, 14 days or something going for spring bear that's coming up. So that's primarily what this is packed for. This could be used, I use this for fall, elk, deer, all that stuff too. Tripod, really important. I just keep that here on the side, on one side. The other side I have the spotter, just making sure you can see game, right? I have those separately on each side. I just like having it balanced out that way. Sometimes, occasionally I'll have the spotter on the tripod and I'll just throw that under my lid if I need to, if I need, quick access to it. But generally speaking, I can get it set up pretty quick. Let's get into the nitty gritty. I don't have a rifle with me right now, but I have this scabbard in the back. This is the Eberly stock mainframe, the F1 mainframe. The rifle just slides in the back, which makes it really awesome. One of my favorite features. So the lid, I think no matter what bag you're using, I think you gotta have a lid. I think that's an essential part to the whole system, in my opinion, just because it's something that's easy access, plus it has this flap that you can stick stuff underneath it if it really comes to that. Let me set this stuff out of the way. But yeah, I think a lid is a really important part. What I do with mine is I keep the very top pouch. My lid has two different pouches. I have my headlamp, my inReach, toilet paper. I have all the stuff that I would need in a quick access scenario just right here on top of my lid. I know it's always there. It's easy to go. The other outside pocket that I have right here, this is where I keep my water filter. I like using the Kade Be Free, and then I also keep two of these 2-liter bags. These you can just fill up, and then this Be Free filter actually can just fit on those, and you can drink straight from it, or you can just squeeze it into your pot or whatever. I like it because, anyway, we got videos on that kind of stuff. The other thing I got in here is my first aid kit. So this has tick remover, medicine, all that jazz. So I know that those are always right here, easily accessible, easy to grab. Obviously, if these are full of water, I'm not going to stick them back in this pouch. A lot of times I'll just stick it underneath the lid, or I'll even stick it in my bag sometimes. You can strap it on the outside. They got these handles. Yeah. So those are all the outside pockets. All those things I need access to relatively quickly. You don't want to have to dig through your bag to find your water filter when you're hiking. You don't want to have to find toilet paper. You don't have to find your headlamp when it gets dark, or the inReach if you're in a pickle. Another outside pocket I have is right here on my left hip when I'm hiking, is I have this other little pouch. This pouch, it's kind of hard to see, it's kind of hidden there. But this pouch is where I have other quick access stuff. I'm gonna get into this a lot, but I don't ever want to carry a rain cover. I don't, if it starts dumping rain, I don't want to have to worry about pulling out a rain cover, throwing it on top, hoping that my stuff doesn't get wet. If I drop this into a creek or something, a rain cover is not going to do anything for you. So what I like to do is I have everything in little dry bags. It's how I keep things organized, and everything's color coordinated basically, so I know where everything's at. But also I just know that if it starts dumping rain on me, especially spring bear, those rainstorms can just come in out of nowhere, and I don't want to have to worry about any of my gear ever getting wet. So everything just belongs in a dry bag. It just stays in a dry bag. So in here I have camera batteries. Most people wouldn't be carrying that, but I have a little Anchor battery pack to charge my phone. I have a cable. I have, anyway, that kind of stuff. Just other stuff that I need quick access to, and it's just right there on my hip belt. And again, it lives in a dry bag, so I never have to worry about it, which is awesome. Even if you got electronics or whatever, you don't have to worry about it. That's pretty much, when I open this up, you're gonna see there's a lot of other dry bags, because that's the way I like things to, they act as stuff sacks. They're, they just help you stay organized. So that's that. This other pouch, I just have my water bottle, so there's nothing to see over there. But those are all the outside pockets. There's not a ton, but everything that you would need is in there. So let's open this up. At the top, so keep in mind weight. You want to make sure if you have all your weights, your heaviest stuff down at the bottom, I promise you your back's gonna hurt by the time you're done. I've done that before and it sucks. So don't do that. Sleeping bag is what I like having down at the bottom. It's relatively light, and I'll get down, I'll dig all the way down there, but something a little lighter, kind of you want the heaviest section, like right here at your shoulders, maybe a little below your shoulders, a little above your shoulders, kind of that general area. So that's where I have kind of the bulk of my food, just other heavy stuff. At the top, again, you want it to be a little lighter on top. This is what I do. I just have these dry bags. This is a blue dry bag. This is where I keep all my puffies. So in here I have puffy pants, puffy jacket. I have a rain jacket in here. I have a little hat with like a little face mask on it in case it's really cold. What else? Gloves, down gloves, just any of the cold weather stuff. I just have it in this little dry bag. You can press it really tight and it is waterproof, so you never have to worry if it starts raining. Keeps all your stuff protected. So I like having that on top because I need access to that, especially in the morning. If I see something and I start hiking, I want to be able to pull off my puffy layers, shove it in a bag, and go. And that's right on the top. Another thing that I like keeping towards the top is my kill bag. I have it red, pretty self-explanatory. I keep my knife, game bags, a knife sharpener, paracord, some extra straps for hauling meat. Anyway, so all that stuff's in here. Relatively quick to get to. I just gotta pull out my puffies and this, and I'm good to go. I don't have a huge science to this, but I like keeping my little Crocs towards the top as well, just in case we have a creek crossing or something. I can just pull off my shoes, throw these on. I also like having these for camp shoes. Trevor always makes fun of me for these, but I love these little things. They weigh basically nothing. They do take up a little bit of room, but anyway, so I like having those somewhere towards the top just so I can access them if we have a creek crossing. But generally speaking, they're just used at camp. Now we're kind of getting to that heavy layer. So this is our fire bag. It has the wood stove in there, has the saw, leather gloves for cutting firewood and dealing with the hot stove and everything. Has our fire starters in here, has an extra lighter, it has a lot of stuff in here. So this can get kind of heavy. I will say if you don't, or if you've never used a wood stove while hunting, it's gonna change your life, because when you, especially with those spring bear hunts, or especially just, in the spring in general, even in the fall, you have snow come and hit you and everything, just being able to warm up and dry your clothes. I think drying your clothes is the biggest key. If you can dry your clothes, it's a game changer. So just having this as an option. Occasionally, we'll ditch this somewhere if we know that we're not gonna need it for a few days or something. Obviously we'll make sure we come back for it because it's kind of expensive, but I like having that. With everything in there, it is a little on the heavier side, but the stove itself really isn't that bad. It's just we probably need to go do socks. Our saw's kind of heavy, but anyway. So that's what I like rocking. If you're with a partner, it makes it a lot easier because you don't have to haul everything. This is also where you'd stick the tent. Trevor normally carries the tent, and I carry the stove. So it's kind of a little partnership we got going on there. The tent doesn't really weigh anything anyway, but anyway. So that's pretty comparable. Then I have this sucker. This is my food bag. This does not have 10 to 14 days worth of food in there. It's going to be a lot more full once I get all that stuff packed in here. But for example's sake, this is where the food goes. I have it next. This is the heaviest part. I mean, each day's worth of food is like 1.5 pounds. You know, times that by 14, you're getting pretty heavy. This is a 20-liter dry bag. I like the 20-liter. I found I mean, you kind of are maxing out at like, I don't know. I've fit 12, 13 days in here before, but it's really tight. So, and once you start eating, obviously it starts going down, but this is, you know, if you're doing a 10-day hunt or something, 20 liters is perfect. You don't really have to worry about your food getting wet, really, but having it in a dry bag keeps it organized. In here, along with food, I have my butane stove, my utensil. I even have a little handkerchief that I use to kind of clean it out. It weighs nothing. Inside here, I also have all of my dinners. A few weeks back, we released a full video where I just kind of talk about backcountry food, so you can go watch that. But I have, my dinners are actually in a separate dry bag inside this bag, just so I can keep them separate. On my lid, I didn't talk about this, but there's 2 pockets on the lid. The one bigger pocket, I keep one day's worth of food. I just keep it in there so I have easy access to it while I'm hiking and stuff, so that I have access to all the important stuff. That's the food. Like I said, this will be a lot bigger right before we're about to actually go. We still have a few days before we go though. So that's the food. That's a hefty one. Next, I have this other little blue dry bag. This is a little different shade than the puffy one. This is my camp bag. It has my toothbrush, toothpaste, little shower wipes that I like to use just to keep myself clean, contacts. It has some extra charging cables for other stuff. It also has my little air pump for pumping up my air pad, as well as the little, you know, using it to get the fire roaring, the little flex tail one. Anyway, so that's what that's for. We're kind of getting towards the bottom. I have this little bag. This is where I have the ground cloth and then my sleeping pad. So this is pretty minimal. It's pretty small. It's pretty light, and I just like having these 2 things in there right on top of my sleeping bag because I don't really need it until I'm at camp, right? So it makes it a little easier. If you've noticed, not only is weight a factor for how everything's laid out, but it's also, you know, access. Do I need access to this in the middle of the day? No, I don't need access to this in the middle of the day, so it's at the very bottom. Plus it's light, so it's kind of a win-win scenario. We're kind of getting a little pile of crap here. Next is my sleeping bag. So I have ditched I'm missing something else. Solar panel. This thing can get a little hefty. This is normally with the fire bag because they're the same size and they can kind of compress at the same time. And they're kind of on the side next to the food. Anyway, so solar panel is also something that we throw in there just because we use a lot of power with camera equipment and everything. Not everyone needs one of those, but they are handy for running your phone and charging lights and all that stuff. So, sleeping bag, I have ditched the stuff sack and I've replaced it with a dry bag, as you can imagine. I don't even have this compressed very much, but this thing can compress really well. It is waterproof. Again, I don't have to worry about it. If it starts dumping rain on us, my bag itself can get soaked, but the sleeping bag is gonna be fine because it lives in this dry bag. So that's what I do. Another thing is inside the dry bag, I have my sleeping bag, but I also put change of clothes, extra socks, you know, any other things that I want to use like while I'm sleeping, you know, any other changes of clothes, I stick them actually in the sleeping bag because I won't need them at any point unless I'm in my sleeping bag. So all that stuff kind of belongs in here and it's down at the bottom. This is really lightweight, which is perfect because you don't want a ton of weight down here at the bottom anyway. And anyway, and that's it. I mean, that's my whole pack. I mean, it's, like I said, this is pretty much everything. You know, I need my rifle in here still. Like I said, my inReach is charging, so I don't have that in here. But generally speaking, that's everything you need to survive out there. So let me just repack it. I have the sleeping bag, then I throw my ground cloth and my sleeping pad in there. Next, I throw my little camp bag because again, I don't really need access to this. This doesn't really weigh anything anyway. Then I stick the solar panel. This is where it kind of depends on how much food you have. With this amount of food, I can stick the fire bag, the solar panel, and the food kind of all in one little spot because these two are pretty thin. And you can see that still is pretty compressed there. Then I'll throw my camp shoes in there. You can kind of slide these down the side if you need to. It's also pretty easy just to attach these to the outside of the bag. Then I got kill kit. Set this up. Got the kill kit. And then my puppies. Like setting those kind of on the side. But there you go, my friends. That's everything. Roll this up, buckle this down, where my strap's at. Throw the lid on there. And you're rolling. That's it. I mean, obviously I gotta throw the spotter and the tripod on here, but it's pretty easy. I mean, I could have spent a little bit more time making it a little more compact, but that's it. I mean, it's pretty easy keeping everything. If you know the colors of where everything belongs, it's super easy just to throw everything in your bag. Especially in the morning, just being able to get out there quickly. I'm not the fastest at packing up camp. Trevor's actually really good at packing up camp. So that's something that's really important to me, is just being able to get camp set up quickly and then also getting it broken down quickly, because then you're spending more time hunting. You don't have to worry about all the details of, where did this go or where did this go. It also makes it easy to pack for a hunting trip because you can just keep stuff in the dry bags. Obviously you can't keep puffies and stuff in there because they gotta air out, but anyway, that's it. If you have any questions, I can kind of give you more of a breakdown. I actually have a checklist just on like a Google sheet, and I have every single item in every single bag listed so I know what belongs in there. And I also have weights attached to each of these bags, so I can kind of just compare what my base weights are. I can see, I even have a little pie chart that shows me, where the majority of my weight is. Obviously water is going to be a big one. The rifle adds, I think my rifle and that whole setup is like 7.5 pounds. So that adds a little bit of weight. There's only like 8 parts or something like that, just a few bags, and everything has a color that's a little different. This one's like a neon yellow. The camp bag is like a light blue. The puffies are a darker blue. My food bag's gray. Anyway, it just makes it easy. So even if you have the little yard stale set up, you know that everything has a place, and it's easy just to grab it, open it up, grab your thing out, roll it back up, and you're good to go. So that's it. If you have any questions, or if you guys want to see the whole breakdown of my spreadsheet, what it looks like, I can even share it with you guys so you could go through and kind of make it your own. If you guys do want to see that, make sure you put a comment down in the description below. We can do that. We just got to make sure it's something you guys are actually interested in, because it's probably going to take a little bit of work. So if we get 10 people to just comment down below saying, hey, we love the video, want to see the rest, broken down a little bit more, we can do that. Just put it down in the comments below. I just need at least 10 people, otherwise it's not really worth it. So if you guys are interested in that, throw it in the comments and we'll make sure that happens. If you have any other questions, let us know. We spend a lot of time out there hunting. If you guys have any other questions or other video ideas, let us know again in the comments. You also get an entry into our giveaways, so it's a win-win for everyone. It boosts the algorithm for us. We're trying to grow, of course. Stay tuned. We got more great content coming out. We have, I think, the last part of our deer hunt from last year is going to be released here. I don't know if it's next week or the week after. It's like once a month we release those. Well, that's it for this week's video. We'll see you next week.